All right, today we're going to dive into an idea that might just, well, it might just change how you see everything. We're talking about yourself, your relationships, even your place in the universe. It's a concept called the illusion of separation.
You know that feeling? It's a uniquely modern thing, isn't it? You're surrounded by people, maybe on a packed train or just scrolling through a feed that's full of faces, but you feel this deep sense of isolation. If you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone in feeling alone.
And yeah, that right there is the central paradox of our time. It's wild. We have thousands of friends literally at our fingertips, but at the same time, we're facing what some people are calling an epidemic of loneliness. So how is that possible? How can we be more connected and yet more alone all at once?
So let's just put a name on this. We'll call it the connectivity paradox. It's this bizarre, modern reality of being linked to absolutely everyone, but maybe not feeling truly connected to anyone. It's a contradiction that really defines so much of our lives today.
Okay, so here's a really crucial point. We have to get the definition right. Loneliness isn't just about being by yourself. You know, solitude can be amazing, it can be peaceful. Loneliness is different. It's a state of distress. It's that painful gap between the connection you want and the connection you feel like you actually have. It's all about perception, that feeling of being on the outside looking in.
So, what's causing this perception? Where does this feeling even come from? Well, the material we're exploring today argues that it's rooted in something way deeper than just social media or busy cities. It calls it the illusion of separation.
This is it. This is the big idea. It's that deeply ingrained belief that I end right here at my skin and everything out there is not me. And it's a feeling that's so natural, so automatic that most of us never even think to question it. But what if it's this very belief that's making us feel so isolated?
I mean, think about how we learn this. It starts right from the beginning, when we're babies. Our skin is the first and most obvious boundary. It tells us this is where you end and the rest of the world begins. And that's just the start. And then, boom, language comes along and basically builds a wall around that boundary. Words like I, me, and mine create such a clear division from you and yours. The very tool we use to try and connect with each other also constantly teaches us how separate we are.
And the final piece of the puzzle? It's our own inner world. Our thoughts feel completely private, right? Like they only exist for us, inside what the source material beautifully calls the vault of the skull. This little voice in our head, our private monologue, makes it feel like we're the one and only main character in our own story, which just reinforces that sense of being fundamentally separate.
But here's the thing. This isn't just something that's happening inside our own heads. This illusion is being actively built up and reinforced all around us by our culture, by our technology. Let's take a look at how. See, this whole idea of being separate isn't just in our heads. It's baked into our society through this massive cultural shift. For a long, long time, many societies were built around the group, the collective. Your identity was just woven into your community. But modern culture, it started to put the individual on a pedestal. The self became this project, something you have to build and perfect and defend, a lot of the time in competition with everyone else.
And you know what's thrown gasoline on that fire? Modern technology. Just look at this study from the University of Pennsylvania. The correlation is stark, it's direct. The more time people spend on social media, the lonelier and more isolated they actually felt. This really suggests that the kind of connection we're getting online, well, it just isn't scratching that fundamental human itch for real belonging.
And this slide really gets to the why of it all. So often, social media just becomes a kind of theater. We're not just sharing our lives, we're performing this carefully curated, perfect version of our separate, successful self. And that, of course, triggers endless social comparison and that nagging fear of missing out. Connection risks becoming just a transaction for likes and validation, instead of a genuine state of being with other people.
Okay, so we've laid out a pretty solid case for why we feel so separate and alone, right? It seems to be psychological, cultural, technological, it's everywhere. But what if it's all wrong? What if this entire feeling of separation, as convincing as it is just that, an illusion? Because, when you start looking at what science is telling us, from the microscopic all the way up to the cosmic, a totally different story starts to emerge. A story not of separation, but of a deep and frankly undeniable interconnection.
I mean, just get this. You think you're a single person, right? A single organism? Nope, you are a walking, talking ecosystem. There are more microbial cells in and on your body than your own human cells. Without them, you literally couldn't survive. So the whole idea of a singular, separate you completely breaks down at the most basic biological level.
And it just gets deeper from there. The very atoms that make you, they were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. In your brain, you have these things called mirror neurons that fire up when you watch someone else do something, literally simulating their experience inside your own mind. And then you go down to the subatomic level, and quantum physics shows us a universe where particles can be linked in ways that mean nothing is ever truly separate. Science, it seems, is pointing to this incredible woven wholeness.
Okay, so if science is telling us we're all fundamentally interconnected, but we feel so separate, what do we do about that? How do we close that gap? Well, this final section is all about moving from theory into practice.
And the answer isn't about getting more likes or followers. It's about doing the inner work, about dissolving the illusion from the inside out. So first, practicing vulnerability, turning our walls into windows by sharing our real struggles. Second, just observing our thoughts, using things like meditation to realize we're not that chattering voice in our head. And finally, cultivating real compassion, which is just realizing that another person's struggle is just a variation of our own human experience.
There's this quote in the material we're looking at today that it hits it perfectly. We're like these individual waves on the surface, worrying about our own small form, completely forgetting that we are, and always have been, a part of the vast ocean. Our loneliness is just that feeling of forgetting. And that really is the big idea I want to leave you with. We spend so much energy trying to build bridges, trying to find connection with others. But what if the real work isn't about building anything? What if it's just about realizing we were never separate in the first place? That belonging isn't something we have to find, but something we just have to remember. What would change for you if you really lived from that place?